Remember that what a soul is, and I use the silly analogy. Remember, this is an octopus. I know it's my fist, but this is an octopus, and it drops down a tentacle to see what the water is like a little further down below. Okay, so think of the octopus as your higher self, which is the much larger being that we are, and we are but a temporary projection, just like the tentacle coming down into the lower dimensions and lower frequencies of the physical universe, and we're the ones that is experiencing. If you're enjoying the video and you want to go deeper with me, check out my meditation masterclass. It's unlike anything. It's pinned in the comments below. Earth and other planets, just not currently. We're here right on Earth, but we obviously incarnate as aliens. If you didn't know that, we all do. Okay. The evolution that's really taking place, okay, it's the evolution of the higher self, the octopus, my fist, okay? So this is what is evolving, and we are simply learning on its behalf, okay? When the higher self projects pieces of itself or aspects of itself, or what we call souls, it puts itself into stasis or hibernation, okay? And its projections are what is doing the learning. And as we're learning, it's learning because we are a piece of it, and it is us. So the evolution of consciousness in terms of what we are is really our higher self. And as we are learning as a temporary individualized unit called a soul or an aspect, the higher self is learning. As the higher self is learning, it is evolving, it is accruing, it is deepening its sentience, its love and wisdom and talents and abilities. And as it does that, it moves up within the structure of the multiverse. So the higher up within the structure of the multiverse is representative of how sentient that higher self is. Okay. I wanted to give that as context in terms of the reincarnation cycle. Okay. Now, what we have to do is we have to learn everything that there is to possibly learn within the lower frequencies in order to not have to come back here. Okay? So once Earth School no longer has anything to offer to us in terms of what we need to learn, we don't come back here once that occurs. Okay? It's, once you graduate high school, you don't come back to take, 8th grade English. You don't need to. You've already learned it. There's nothing for you to learn once you've graduated high school. You would never take 8th grade English class again because it would be pointless. So there are many, many, many lessons that can only be learned through the tangible experience of physical incarnation. The reason why that some of us suffer what goes on here, that is because, one, we're identifying with what is going on, and we have failed to realize that some of the souls that are here now have not quite learned the same lessons that maybe you have. And so some of their way of operating, let's say it's violent, non-loving, judgmental, part of what makes it so difficult to be here. These are souls that have not quite learned that lesson. And that's okay. Everyone gets to evolve in their own way and in their own time. Right? So we must allow this process. Right? And we do not need to suffer other people's behavior. Right? This is what detachment or non-attachment allows us to achieve this. There are many souls here that are still working through many, many lessons. And for those of you that probably watch my videos, you are part of the percentage of this population that has learned many of these lessons. And not all of them, but you've learned many of these lessons. And so some of these lessons that are being played out right now can feel abhorrent to you. But not for those that are partaking in them. They haven't learned those lessons yet. They need to have those experiences. You are not having those experiences. You're witnessing them. You're not having them because you don't need to. They do. It's that simple. Earth is our version of Earth that we're experiencing right now is fascinating. There's such incredible variance in terms of the levels of consciousness or sentience that's temporarily individualized within a single unit, or what we call a soul. There's so many different levels of it. And so sometimes we see some that is still learning very specific lessons that maybe you have, and that's why it's difficult for you to endure this. But remember, just detach, let these souls evolve as they need to by having these experiences. It's okay. It's all okay. Like I said, none of this actually touches them either. What goes on with the mind-body complex doesn't touch what you really are. Give everyone permission to evolve in their own way and in their own time. Now, once we have learned everything that there is to learn, we don't come back here. Now, part of that has to do with karma, not having any energetic attachments to anything here, because that's what makes you come back. You literally get stuck like Spider-Man shooting a spider web. Your energy is stuck to something here. So if you're stuck to something, how far can you go? Not very far, right? So we have to release all identifications and indentations. My second book is going to talk a lot about that. So we have to let go of indentations and identifications. Once we've released all that, there's no more karmic ties to this place. And if we are learning everything that there is to learn through the experiences here, and there's no longer anything that we need to learn, then you are done incarnating into the lower frequencies of the physical universe. Now, to also wrap this up, okay, is that it is my experience that the higher self, once it reaches a certain level, in terms of where it resides within the physical universe, within the multiverse, I should say within the multiverse itself, not the physical universe. Our higher self is well outside of it. We are not. So once the higher self has accrued a sufficient amount of sentience, there is nothing for it to learn by having a piece of itself come here. So remember, we're learning and evolving on behalf of our higher self. We're a drone, an aspect, a projection of it. And so once there's nothing else to learn here by coming here, once you graduate high school, you don't have to take the classes again. But until you graduate high school, you have to keep taking those classes again. Okay, now this is inevitable for everyone. Now, the key to this is to work in the way that we talk about, in a detached, compassionate, and wise manner, by not creating any karmic ties, by not allowing the subconscious patterned egoic mind to dictate your behavior, to shed yourself of the EMI, as I call it, the ego mind identity, to then be your true self and live freely, live authentically as what you really are. This speeds up this entire evolutionary process. Okay? The returning to physical incarnations is just a natural aspect of the evolution of consciousness. Oftentimes we come back to other versions of Earth, and that's probably a whole nother video, just because you're not quite done with the evolutionary cycle, or I should say what it is that you need to understand in terms of lower frequency incarnation. It does not mean that the next time you incarnate would be a continuation of this version of Earth. Okay, Earth is a pan-frequential body. That means there's about 10 different versions of Earth that exist in all these different frequencies, what people call dimensions. They exist in all these different frequencies. There's a version of Earth in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th frequency that is nothing like the Earth that you and I are experiencing here in the 3rd frequency. Nothing like it. Okay? Remember, you did not come here to stay. So you don't have to worry about fitting in. Be true to yourself. This speeds up the whole process. It improves your moment-to-moment quality of life. It allows you to disengage from energetic or karmic ties. It allows you to be the best version of yourself. Do not suffer this world. You're not from here. It's just an environment. It's just a temporary sojourn. There are very special lessons that can only be learned here. And for many of you that are watching these videos, you've learned the majority of these lessons. And that's why they're so difficult for you to endure. And I understand. You've heard me say this before, pretend everything is a boring movie. Let your energy return to you, and this realm will not affect you so negatively. And remember, everyone is evolving in their own way and in their own time. Have respect for that. Have compassion for that. And as you work with these teachings, as you embody these teachings, you are accelerating the evolution of your consciousness. And I am obsessed with consciousness evolving with the greatest efficacy. And now we're being able to provide these teachings that will allow this to happen. It's because all of you are ready to work in this way, and that's why I'm here teaching it. Because you're ready. Don't suffer your expectations. Don't suffer what goes on here. It doesn't touch you. It does not touch you. Just like the bad weather never touches the sun. What goes on here doesn't touch your soul. Do not forget that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, if you are desirous of more of the real you, and less of your conditioned, agitated mind, if you know that you can create a life that you're not leading right now, but you know you can, check out my meditation masterclass. It's pinned in the comments below.